Hello, welcome or welcome back. If you are returning, I see you. If you're new, welcome. My name is Benga, and on this channel, I talk about plants. Today, I want to discuss three things that I think are important for you to consider before you want to bring a plant home. I know a lot of people, if you're watching this, I'm not calling anybody out in particular, but you may have been about Tesco, Sainsbury's, garden center, seen a nice plant and been like, ooh, this one looks cute, let me bring it home. And then it died. And it wasn't your fault necessarily. You didn't kill it, but you didn't give it the best chance of survival. And that is because you're not considering some of the elements that go into providing a plant the ideal conditions for it to do the best that it possibly can. So the three things that I want to discuss in this video are lighting, watering, and space. And I think all of these things contribute to giving your plant the best chance of survival. And there are things that you should think about before bringing home any old plant and putting it in any old place. Because like I've mentioned before, not all plants require the same conditions. And so just because you like it there doesn't mean it will do its best there, okay? Before we start, I just want to point out, can we get a little commotion for the hoodie? Can we get a little commotion for the hoodie? I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if you can see that, but this hoodie was a gift. It was a gift from my sister. Thank you. I really like the color and the size. Actually, it's kind of oversized. I really like this hoodie. It's from Colors Studio, which, if you're not familiar with them, they are a YouTube channel. Well, they're more than a YouTube channel, but the YouTube channel is the main way that I interact with them, where they have live performances done by artists all across the world in a range of different genres. And it's been a real source of, I don't know, say inspiration, but it's been really interesting to watch them as a creative endeavor, like step their game up over the years, as well as the types of artists that they brought on. And of course, they put me onto a lot of great music. So in fact, I will link some of my favorite color shows in the description if you're interested. Off the top of my head, I put myself on the spot. Oh, Tierra Wax one is really good. Rico Nasty is also really good. Tiana Major 9, excellent. I'm definitely forgetting a really major one. Oh, Lil Sims. Anyway, I'm going to include the links, it's fine. I won't even go into it too much, but those are some excellent performances. The first topic I wanted to talk about is lighting. Now, as a human, you have your own perception of what is good lighting, bad lighting, not enough, blah, blah, blah. But it's not exactly necessarily the same for plants. As I probably mentioned before, the light that you have in different parts of the day is different, and the different direction that your window space will make a big difference as to which plants will do the best in certain environments. And so before bringing your plant home, I would advise you actually think about, where do I want to have plants in my space? Do I want to have them on the windowsill? Do I want to have it maybe on the desk near this window? All of those things, consider, and then from there you'll work out, do I have a lot of high light or low light areas I want to put plants in or arrange, and therefore you pick the plants that match those environments. So I would say with natural light, that's obviously not up to you entirely, so you just need to observe the areas. Something really simple you can do is just literally put, I don't know, like a cup on the table or wherever you want to put the plant, and put it there for 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever, and observe it throughout the day and notice how much light it gets throughout the day. So maybe it gets a lot of light in the morning, a lot in the afternoon, etc. And that will give you an idea of how much light does this area get. It's relative, it's not absolute, but it's relative. That will give you an idea of what areas have high or low light and which ones you might want to consider which plants for. Once you've observed how much light is in a particular spot, you can somewhat alter that. If you particularly wanted, let's say, a plant that doesn't need that much light, or actually is damaged by a lot of light in this particular zone, you can alter or artificially alter the environment by stopping as much light coming in. So you may put another plant blocking it, so it's mostly in the shade, or something that's not a plant, just anything to block the light. You could have shades up on your curtains, or shade curtains up on your windows to diffuse the light that's coming in. Or you can consider moving the spot and maybe having that plant further back from the window, so it's not getting as much light or not getting direct light or things like that. So play around with the positioning of this cup or whatever example object you have to see how much light is actually going to hit it, and you can work with that. Of course, you don't have to use natural light, you could use grow lights. I have never actually used a grow light myself, so I'm not going to speak from experience, but I know they exist and you can use them to supplement or to completely artificially create light around your plants. I personally don't use one, mostly because I don't have any plants that require it, partly because I wouldn't get a plant that required it, at least not now, because cost of living crisis, I can't be turning on lights just so that my plant grows. It's not financially sustainable for me right now, and I kind of just don't want, that's to me is another thing to think about, having to turn on the light and turn it off and set it on a timer and all that stuff. I quite like the idea of just like working with the elements that I have, so no grow lights for me, but that's something you might want to consider. I should have maybe pointed out, the reason I have this plant here is because I wanted to talk about what happens when you don't pay attention to the lighting. So this plant was gifted to me by my friends Caitlin and Charlotte. If you're watching, hello, thank you. I already said thank you, but thank you in the public domain. And now, when I first got this, I never had an orchid before, so I didn't actually know how to take care of it. I was really just guessing. So I stuck it in my south-facing window, and bad idea. Big mesog. Now, let me show you what happened. You see this white patch, let me make it focus. This white patch along the leaf here, and along this leaf here as well. That is from sun damage compared to like this leaf, which is perfectly green throughout. So you can see this is all green, it's got a white patch here, it's got a white patch here. Same over here, and it looks kind of stressed and like marbled and a bit sick. That's because it was getting way too much sun. So I've since relocated it to my sort of west-facing window where it gets much less light, and also it's even like tucked away in the corner, so the actual bottom, the leaves don't get very much light at all, and that's doing much better for it. So it's not had more damage since I put it there. So I would encourage you to experiment. If you don't know 100% if this is the right area for your plant, experiment, but just keep a close eye on if you see any damage or any evidence that this may be not the right area for this particular plant. The next point I want to make is space, or thinking about space, what space you have. And I mean that in the more in the sense of what restrictions you're working with. So you may have this cute little section of your desk that you're like, oh, I can have a pop of green here, and you buy, you know, a cute little baby banana plant that's only maybe the size of this cup or this mug, and you're like, wow, great, excellent. Now, let me tell you something. If you're looking after that thing, within 6 months, it could be twice the size, and now you are trying to work and you have a banana leaf on your head. So I would encourage you to think about the space that you want to put this plant in, but also think about what size would this plant be in X amount of time. A quick search online, asking around, asking me if I have a plant that I've owned, will give you information about how quickly this plant grows. And not only how quickly does it grow, but how big does it grow. Some plants do have like a maximum size, particularly if you're growing them indoors in like less than ideal conditions. And some plants will also, their rate of growth changes quite a lot depending on the season or on the conditions, or if you give it fertilizer, all this kind of thing. So I would encourage you to look at that before you get a plant, because this area may be good for it now, but may not be good for it in even like 3 months. Now, don't mistake my point. My point is not only get plants that fit your space and will fit the space for the next 3 years. I'm not trying to advocate. Well, I do agree with the concept now that I'm older and I know how much things cost. Remember when you're in primary school? Yeah, better. Remember when you're in secondary school? You start secondary school in year 7. You're 11 years old, and you get put in a uniform that is 2 sizes too big, and your arms are like drowning in the sleeves. You're going to school, and you literally your hand is doing like this, and you're having to do like to pull up the sleeve to even just be able to maneuver, because your parents are not trying to buy you a new blazer every 6 months because you're having a growth spurt. Now, I'm not saying that you should put a plant in this, like that's this big with this much space for it to grow, because I actually quite like, it's not a challenge necessarily, but I like the fact that because these plants are growing, I have to think about what are the right conditions, what are these spaces I can put it in, and now it's overgrown this space, I might need to move from here to here. I kind of like having to think about that because it adds another like element to getting the perfect balance of everything. But you may not like that. You may want everything to have a permanent home, and in that case, then yes, you need to think ahead. But realistically, I would assume a lot of people who are watching me either like plants and would want to incorporate them into their decor. So would maybe think about all of this stuff, and maybe this will be here for a month, but I want to move my bed around anyway, and then move the plant. Or likely a lot of people who are watching this are similar to my age, and realistically we are all trying to just make ends meet and probably renting, and you have to move around a lot anyway. So the maximum you're looking at like a year, maybe 2 years in one spot. So it'll probably be fine, but it's something to consider. Plants don't stay the same size necessarily depending on the plant, so think about the space you put them in. I've gone through this myself. I will put on the screen here. My banana plant, when I got it, was probably about, I don't know, 30 centimeters tall. Now it's easily like 60, if not more, and it's so wide. Before it was about this wide, and now it's at least this wide. So I had to even move it from where I had it before because there was no space. But again, I kind of like the challenge of finding the right conditions for it. But if you hate the challenge, then no one's forcing you to step up to the plate. It's okay, just fall back. Yeah. I did this. It's true. And I'll explain why. This section is about watering. Now, one thing that is very important is that you need to be realistic. Be realistic about how frequently you, one, want to, and want is a key word, want to have to attend to your plants. The most common thing that we're going to have to do is going to be watering. You're going to water more frequently than you do anything else with your plants, most likely. So once you're realistic about how much you want to interact with plants, particularly watering them, 2, you need to be realistic about how much you actually will. There's a difference between your desires and your reality, okay? So let's promote realism. I say all this to say that if you want to, water your plants every 6 hours, but realistically you're only going to get around to it once a week, maybe don't buy that plant. Maybe don't buy a plant that requires you to water it every 6 hours. Now, there are there's a spectrum of different plants in terms of, well, the spectrum of how demanding plants are in terms of watering, and not all plants are going to respond the same if you don't water them. A great example of this is this guy right here, my Alocasia calculata. Yes, I know I said calculata, but it's actually cucullata. 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 I didn't realize this, so this plant was a bit of an experiment. I bought it on a bit of a whim, didn't know anything about it, and I wanted to kind of learn about it whilst looking after it. I've learned, don't worry, I've learned. And this is the evidence of my learning. I was watering this pretty frequently and trying to make sure it didn't dry all the way out. And now I realize that I need to make sure that it doesn't dry out at all. It needs to be kept moist. This is the impact of me letting it dry. This whole leaf is dead. This leaf is lying down. This leaf has given up on life. The only real leaf that I think is actually doing okay is this one up here, which you can't really tell at that angle, but it's actually fully standing up tall. The rest, even this one, is kind of going off at an angle. So I've learned that this plant in particular, I don't know about all alocasias, but definitely this one is not forgiving. It's not going to bounce back once you water it. It's, as it starts to droop, it will never undroop itself. So what I was going to say, what the point I'm trying to make rather, is be realistic about how much you care to water the plant, how much you're going to remember. If you really care a lot and you want to be better, you can set alarms on your phone, all that kind of stuff. But just be realistic, because not all plants can survive neglect the same way as others can. Now, if this was my snake plant, for example, my snake plant, I have gone like 3 months without watering it on purpose. The rule that I give myself is that if I look at it and I'm like, should I water it? Nah. Think about it next time and we'll try again. I never water it the first time I think about it, because I'm going to end up over-watering it. But I know that that plant, that's one of those ones that people say it thrives on neglect, and I can testify that that is true. However, this plant, it does not thrive on neglect. When you neglect it, this is what happens. It makes a bigger fuss. Now, this isn't the end of the plant by any means. Obviously, like I said, it's still got one leaf that's completely fine. This leaf is probably also fine, it's just a bit wonky and weird. And also there's a new growth you can't see at all, can you? I'll bring it. There's a new growth coming here. No, let me angle this. Bear with, bear with, bear with. Are you bearing? Here. That is a new leaf. But as you can see, this leaf is out of the game. This one is asleep and very yellow as well. Once you can, for this plant, once you can start to kind of see through the leaf and it's going yellow, it's done out. And this one, I mean, look, it's upside down, it's done. It's tired, it's really tired. So I'm not even gonna try and force it to bounce back with those leaves. I'm just gonna tidy this up. I'll do that in a future video if you are interested in seeing how I would say tidy up. I wouldn't say necessarily prune. I know people use that term, but I don't like using words without definitions. If I don't know the definition, I try not to use it. But having said that, I'm gonna look it up. And once again, word of the day is pruning. The definition will be on the screen here. You reading it? Learning? Good. And I think that might be all I have to say for this video. So I'm actually remembering to do it whilst filming for once. Please leave a like on this video if you like this video. If you have any questions for me or any comments on anything that you saw or that I said, please leave a comment down below. Even if you just want to say hi, I will probably say hi back with this emoji. So look out for that emoji. Do you know what I just realized as I sit here and edit this video? Why is the palm in the hand waving emoji black? Black people's palms are not. And oh, subscribe. Yes, that's the last one. Subscribe. That's how they be saying. Like, comment, subscribe. Subscribe if you want to see more. I have other videos which I will put on the screen that are about my banana plant, my avocado plant, and what was the other one about? Plant technology. So if you find any of those things interesting, please check those out. That being said, I'm going to go now and enjoy the rest of your day. No lies, a liar. You see me here? Liar. Can't trust men. Music. I forgot about music. I'll keep it very brief, the music section. I really just want to talk about Telephone by Noname, a mixtape from 2013, 2014 kind of time. I didn't realize, I listened to it again today for the first time in ages, and I did not realize how stacked that catalog is. Got features from Felix, Saba, Smino, Raury, Xavier, Omär, so many artists that I love now were on this album. I don't think I realized at the time, I don't think those were my starting off point with those artists. So it's kind of interesting looking back to see what was going on between those artists and how they're collaborating. It's really cool. My favorite, I don't know why I set myself up, I'm not going to give myself a favorite song. Songs that I would really recommend you should listen to are Yesterday, Diddy Bop, and Bye Baby, is that what it's called? And Casket Pretty. Her Tiny Desk is amazing, I'll link that below. And since we're talking about these other artists, I'll give you one song from each of those other artists. Raury, Never Alone, Saba, which Saba song would I suggest? PROM by Saba. So Much More, that's the song. Xavier, Omär, So Much More. As he called it, it's the wedding song of the year when he released it. And not gonna lie, if he wants to come perform my wedding, I wouldn't mind it. So future person, do you want to arrange that? Anyway, I'm gonna cheat, and I forgot to mention that Rayvn and Lenae is also on telephone, so I'm gonna suggest Rayvn and Lenae featuring Smino, and the song is called 3D, which is on Rayvn and Lenae's last album called Hypnos. Love that song, love them both. Okay, now I'm actually done. I don't know if I want to, yeah, okay, let me just, bye.